David Martinez is a young man who attends the prestigious Arasaka Academy at his mother Gloria's behest, despite the fact they are financially struggling. In order to keep attending class, David illegally modifies his cyberware to avoid paying for a required update. However, the modifications end up crashing the school's system, and Gloria agrees to pay for the damages. On the way home, David gets into a brief argument with his mother before they are caught up in a street battle, leaving Gloria badly wounded. David manages to access Gloria's savings account to pay for her medical costs and discovers she had stolen a military-grade Sandevistan implant. After getting assaulted by his classmate Katsuo, David finds out to his dismay that Gloria's condition worsened and she died in the hospital. Now completely broke, having little success selling the Sandevistan, and enraged at Katsuo for insulting Gloria, David meets his Ripperdoc Doc and requests to have the Sandevistan installed into his own body. Doc agrees to install the Sandevistan, which grants David enhanced speed and reflexes. With his new strength, David returns to school and takes revenge on Katsuo by assaulting him in broad daylight. Katsuo's father Tanaka, an Arasaka executive, notices that David is able to utilize the Sandevistan with no apparent side effects, which would make him a valuable test subject. Meanwhile, as David aimlessly wanders the city, he encounters a beautiful young pickpocket named Lucy who agrees to take him on as a partner. After a night pickpocketing marks, David collapses due to overuse of his Sandevistan. Lucy takes David back to Doc, who prescribes him immunosuppressants and more than 2 or 3 times a day, though he notes that David appears to have a remarkable tolerance to it. Lucy invites David to her apartment, where she confides that her dream is to migrate off-world to a lunar colony. She shows David a virtual reconstruction of the lunar surface, but it turns out to be a ploy to sell out David to a gang of Edgerunners. David is confronted by the gang, led by a man named Maine, who reveals that Gloria had sold the Sandevistan to him, and that he is an acquaintance of hers. David reveals he's Gloria's son, and offers to work for Maine, demonstrating his compatibility with the Sandevistan. Impressed, and to honor his friendship with Gloria, Maine allows David to join the gang. David then returns home, having lost his trust in Lucy. The next day, David meets up with the gang, and Maine introduces him to the other members, Kiwi, Dorio, and Pilar. David then participates in a heist to steal navigation from Maxim, a driver for Arasaka. The plan goes awry though, and David and Lucy are forced to steal Maxim's limo to gain the navigation data instead. Maine rescues them from a bounty hunter, and impressed with David's performance, officially inducts him into the gang. David also meets Maine's fixer, Faraday, who is seeking information on Tanaka's movements. David then receives a message from the Academy offering to let him return, but David bluntly turns them down. As a new recruit, David receives training and instruction from the other gang members, including running errands for Pilar and his sister Rebecca, learning how to drive from Maine, and jogging in night with Lucy. He also participates in several jobs such as taking out a gang of scavengers and rescuing Rebecca from a criminal gang, and helps Lucy with more heists. He learns that Lucy is a talented netrunner, but not much else about her past. David confides with Maine that he does have feelings for Lucy, but he's certain that she does not return his feelings, and he has trouble figuring out how much he should trust her. Eventually, David begins to feel at home with the gang. However, on the way home from a bar, Pilar begins harassing a homeless man. The homeless man is revealed to have cyberpsychosis, and he suddenly kills Pilar with a concealed gun. Desperate to protect Lucy, David uses his Sandevistan to kill the cyberpsycho. David takes Lucy home while the gang takes care of the mess, where Lucy reveals her dream to go to the moon is genuine. David promises to Lucy that he will take her to the moon, and they both kiss. The gang tries to find more leads on Tanaka, and Kiwi mentions she discovered that he secretly indulges in illicit brain dances created by JK. David recognizes that as the handle of Jimmy Kurosaki, a famous BD director who also custom tunes BDs for special clients, including Tanaka. Seeing a potential to ambush Tanaka, the gang attempts to kidnap JK, but he outwits them, captures David, and flees the scene with Lucy and Dorio in pursuit. JK subjects David to traumatic BDs in an attempt to induce cyberpsychosis before he is stopped and captured by Lucy and Dorio. With no other choice, JK agrees to lure Tanaka in, but not before cautioning David that the Sandevistan will inevitably make him go cyber-psycho. Tanaka arrives to meet with JK and is subsequently captured, but not before JK is mortally wounded in the crossfire. With the trauma team incoming, the gang is forced to quickly evacuate with Tanaka, while David remains troubled by JK's words. Maine begins developing signs of cyberpsychosis as he starts having trouble controlling his implants, randomly blacks out, has hallucinations, and has significant mood swings. This culminates in him losing his self-control and assaulting Kiwi as she is trying to hack into Tanaka's cyberware, seriously injuring her. Lucy agrees to take Kiwi's place, but only under the condition that Main be kept away and David accompany her. As Lucy dives into Tanaka's mind, Tanaka regains consciousness and begs David to let him go, telling him that he was responsible for rescinding his expulsion from the academy and he still has a future there, and that the Edgerunners will kill him after they extract his information in order to tie up loose ends. This causes David to hesitate long enough that Tanaka's neural implant shorts out, risking killing Lucy too. Dorio disconnects Lucy safely, but their jammer was disabled and Trauma Team has received Tanaka's vitals and are en route with the NCPD. Main sends David and Lucy to their escape vehicle first while he and Dorio take Tanaka to distract the authorities. However, during the battle, Main begins to succumb to his cyberpsychosis, resulting in Dorio's death when she attempts to protect him. David tries to rescue Main, but he can only watch helplessly as regretful Main blows himself up along with Dorio's corpse. All David can do is flee with Main's arms. Sometime later, David has become the new leader of Main's Edgerunner group, having taken on more implants including Main's arm implants and becoming a well-renowned Edgerunner himself. However, he has been unable to convince Lucy to rejoin the crew. After successfully completing a job for the fixer Wakako to rescue a VIP from the Maelstrom gang, David is approached by Faraday, who offers him a job from Militech against Arasaka as a test to see if he is worthy of inheriting Main's last job to recover the data Tanaka was hiding. Faraday also requests that David try to recruit Lucy again. Returning home, David talks with Lucy, wanting to know more about her past. She reveals that she used to part of a special team of Arasaka netrunners raised and trained to delve into the old net to recover lost data. However, the work was extremely dangerous as it exposed them to rogue AIs and malware, which killed much of the team. Eventually, Lucy was able to escape Arasaka and ended up in Night City. She also admits that while she used to only worry about herself, she is now more worried about David's health. Later, Lucy kills an Arasaka agent investigating data about a test subject that was mysteriously erased from Tanaka's records. Taking on Faraday's job, David murders an Arasaka lab director, but shows signs of cyberpsychosis in the process. Meanwhile, Arasaka counterintelligence is investigating the mysterious deaths of Arasaka personnel. Believing Militech to be involved, they arrange an assassination attempt on Faraday, who narrowly escapes, with Militech refusing to provide him protection due to his lack of results on recovering data on Arasaka's cyberskeleton project. Faraday makes contact with Arasaka instead. Arasaka is willing to forgive Faraday for Tanaka's death, in return for him tracking down the netrunner responsible for hiding Tanaka's data and killing their agents. Meanwhile, David continues to show more symptoms of cyberpsychosis, as well as suffering from trauma over killing an innocent secretary that resembled Gloria. Doc recommends that David scale back on his implants, only to be attacked by David, thus souring their relationship. David once again tries to recruit Lucy, but she insists there's something she has to take care of first, and David considers breaking up with her. Lucy then detects another Arasaka agent looking for Tanaka's data and heads over to kill him, only to fall into a trap set by Faraday and Kiwi. After interrogating Lucy, Faraday and Kiwi discover that Lucy has been actively hiding Tanaka's data on David as a potential test subject for the cyberskeleton. Realizing this, Faraday plans to offer both Lucy and David up to Arasaka to secure his position in the company. To carry this out, Faraday assigns David a mission to assault an Arasaka convoy. David recruits the help of Kiwi, Rebecca, and Falco, and they manage to seize the convoy's main cargo, which is revealed to the cyberskeleton. A Militech force then arrives thanks to a tip from Faraday, who intends to force David to install the cyberskeleton and use it to destroy the Militech force as a demonstration of its power. Kiwi makes her escape as Faraday impersonates Lucy to trick him into installing the cyberskeleton. Lucy is able to briefly escape and warns David about Faraday's duplicity before being recaptured. Angered, David uses the cyberskeleton to annihilate the Militech force despite the massive toll it takes on his body, and then tells Rebecca and Falco they will go rescue Lucy and get revenge on Faraday. David fights his way through Militech, Arasaka, and Max Stack forces as he, Rebecca, and Falco head for Arasaka Tower. All the while, David's condition continues to deteriorate as he runs out of immunosuppressants. Meanwhile, Kiwi has second thoughts about working with Faraday and decides to cut ties with him, so he has her killed as a loose end. Before she dies, Kiwi tips off David and the others on Faraday and Lucy's location. David attacks the tower, killing the Arasaka guards, rescuing Lucy, and incapacitating Faraday. Realizing the situation has gone out of their control, Arasaka deploys Atom Smasher to put down David. During the fighting, Faraday is knocked off the tower and falls to his death, while Rebecca is killed by Atom Smasher. David tasks Falco with ensuring Lucy escapes, while he stays behind to hold off Atom Smasher. Despite having the cyber skeleton, David is no match for Atom Smasher and is quickly taken down and killed, though he has no regrets with the knowledge Lucy is safe. Sometime later, Lucy fulfills her dream of traveling to the moon, but is despondent that David is not there with her.